When my father was critically ill, I begged my fiancée Refet to lend me money for his surgery. However, instead of lending me money, she left me and got engaged with Luke Hammond. Just as I was drowning in despair, my childhood friend Jill Baker knelt on one knee in the hospital and proposed to me. She even offered me a dowry worth $150,000. I immediately agreed and arranged for my father to be operated on as fast as I could. Yet, in the end, he did not survive the operation. I was too devastated with grief that Jill was the one who arranged my father's funeral and the wedding continued as planned. However, 5 years later, it was so happened that I heard her conversation with a doctor. Jill, when you secretly transplanted Cody Wilson's father's organs to save Luke's father without telling Cody, have you ever thought about what would happen if he found out? Are you really going to sacrifice yourself for Luke? So what if I was? I would do anything for him, a single life in exchange for his. I've already spent my whole life repaying Cody, and that should be enough, Jill said. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. It was only at that moment I realized the marriage I cherished so much was nothing more than a lie from the very start. Her heart had always belonged to Luke. If this were the case, I would be happy to step aside. Just across the door, there was a tinge of regret in Jill's voice, and every word that she said was filled with sorrow. I failed to make him love me, so the least I could do was to save Luke's uncle. At least by this, he did not have things to worry about anymore. That was the only thing I could do for him. As for Cody, I spent my entire life repaying him. That should be enough. Across from her, her childhood friend Diana Moore sighed, a hint of pity in her voice as she spoke. Isn't it a shame that Luke hasn't known what you sacrificed for him? That was a human life, Jill. If anyone ever finds out, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Is it really worth it for a man who doesn't even love you? It doesn't matter if it's worth it or not, as long as that's happy. Even if I had to use my own organs instead of Cody's father's, I wouldn't hesitate. Let's never speak of this again. It's in the past now. As long as he's living well, that's all that matters, she added. How about Cody then? It seems he genuinely loves you. If he ever finds out you caused his father's death, what will happen to you too? Diana asked. Silence filled the room. Then Jill let out a bitter laugh, her voice laced with self-mockery as she said, if it's the case, I'll pay for it with my life. The money I've earned over the years should be enough for him to live comfortably. Diana sighed. I really don't understand you. Why put yourself through this? Cody is a good man, yet you insist on holding on to him. Never mind. If this is what you want, I won't say anything more. As their footsteps neared, I fled back to my room in a daze. The hot tea in my hand spilled onto my clothes, but all I felt was an icy chill spreading through my bones. So my father didn't die on the operating table. Instead, he had died because of the conspiration that Jill had meticulously concocted for Luke's sake. Back then, Gail Young betrayed and abandoned me. She made me a laughingstock. Jill's proposal had never been about giving me happiness. It was simply her way of stabbing me one last time. Our years of marriage had been nothing more than her attempt to compensate me out of guilt, and I had been flaunting her pitiful charity and showing off my happiness everywhere. What a joke. The sound of the door closing signaled Diana's departure. Jill stumbled into the room. She cupped my face in her hands as she kissed the corner of my lips. Her drunken eyes were filled with concern when she asked, "Why are you standing by the door?" "It's nothing," I answered. "I just spilled some tea and was about to clean it up. Let the housekeeper handle it. You are not in good health. Get some rest, or I will worry about you." Then she kissed me again. She was as loving and gentle as she did before. However, I could no longer feel her warmth.